Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So today we're talking about commonplace books. So if you're a person who likes to read, especially philosophy or personal development type books, or think about conversations that you had, or even sort through quotes, a commonplace book may have a really good place in your life. Keeping a commonplace book is a way of sorting through information you want to keep track of. So, like I said, that can be notes on books you're reading, keeping notes on conversations. Maybe somebody said something that really resonated with you and you wanted to jot it down in your commonplace book. You can keep track of quotes that really resonate with you, or even just life experiences that you had. Now, a commonplace book is not to be confused with a journal. A journal is more of a long form way of writing where you kind of document how you feel and kind of like things that you're going through. A commonplace book is more so notes you're jotting down on knowledge or wisdom that you kind of want to think back on. And also, a really big difference between a commonplace book and a journal is going back and reviewing. Now, I do journal, but I never go back and read things I write in my journal. And if I do, it's years later. But a commonplace book is intended for you to review often and really think about the things that you've written in your commonplace book. Some years ago, I did have a commonplace book. I had a commonplace book slash journal combination thing, and I don't actually suggest that you combine your journal and your commonplace book, but that's just how I kept it at that time. But I absolutely loved it. I would write so much stuff in my commonplace book, and I would often just sit on my porch and just think about things that I've written in my book. I would write different questions, and it really just gave me the opportunity to sit down and think about things that meant something to me, or things that I just wanted to think further on. Because a lot of times we may come across something that resonates with us, but we don't really ever think about it again because it's not in the front of our mind. But when you have that little textbook of things that you can sort through and kind of look through and remember, it's easy to continue to think further on ideas that you may have had. So for 2023, I decided to start a new commonplace book. I feel like over the years, I've learned so much. I've grown as a person, and I kind of wish I had some type of documentation of maybe some conversations that I've had, or maybe quotes that I've come by, or like books that I've read, to really look back and think how I got to where I am and how I got to the point of thinking the way I do. And this is really important to me because one exercise I really like to practice is, where did I get it from? And that is questioning where, or the source of why I think a certain way. And for me, it's really not necessarily about like the reason I think a certain way, but it kind of puts the way I think into context. So for me, I like to think, where did you get that from? Is it because you experienced something, or is it because maybe it's something you grew up on, and maybe it was something that was instilled in me from my parents? So I do like to ask that question to myself, and I find that keeping a commonplace book just kind of organizes things for me to ask myself that question, and even review some of the more recent things that I've come in contact with, whether it be quotes, conversations, or books. Even though I'll be writing all kinds of information in my commonplace book, whether it be from movies or whatever, one really, really big source of me keeping a new commonplace book is the fact that I have recently discovered philosophy books, and I have kind of listened to a couple of them on Audible, and I really enjoyed the context in which philosophy books are written versus personal development books. But I think with philosophy books, you really need to go back and think about some of the things that are being said. And I think that's why I kind of like the idea of philosophy books. So that's another reason why I will be keeping me a commonplace book in 2023. So, question of the day: what is something that you would keep in your commonplace book? It could be any type of knowledge or wisdom, or whatever you would want to further think about or explore, or just review over time. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.